let's have a look at this story, because it is pretty massive. The TV1, I haven't got the TV1 story, but I saw the TV1 story live, and it was actually better because it had some commentary about the concerns some media commentators have about them taking this over, meaning will they be able to do it? I guess, I'm like, give it a crack, stuff. Better to give it a crack and fail than just say goodbye to the 6 o'clock news on TV3. So I'm not being negative when I say that, but there was some interesting commentary from the other side. Right, let's have a look at the story from tonight. Stuff is going to be producing 6 p.m. news on TV3 from, I think it is July the 5th.
Tēnā tātou katoa, good evening. News on 3 will go on, but not as viewers know it. Warner Brothers Discovery has struck a deal with news website Stuff for a nightly TV bulletin.
But details at this point are scarce. What it will be called, how many people will work on it, and what studios it will use.
There were some quite funny memes going around today, like Stuff the News and 3 Stuffed and various, there were some quite good ones going. I like Stuff the News myself. It's quite a good title.
Are all yet to be finalised.
What is known is that most Newshub staff will still lose their jobs. Business correspondent Simon Shepherd reports.
Another day, another news staff meeting, this time 2 locations, 2 organisations to announce a slimmed down lifeline for news on 3.
This has all been a very rapid process in the last sort of several days to get to this point, but I couldn't be more pleased.
Under the deal, Newshub Live at 6 will be replaced with an hour-long weeknight bulletin, half an hour at the weekend, produced by New Zealand's largest news website, Stuff. WBD keeps the ad revenue, but pays Stuff for the content.
That's interesting. That's an interesting point. So, I mean, I know most of you are clear on this, but there might be one or two who aren't. So, if you produce a product for another entity and they're showing it, one of 2 ways it generally works. They either pay you to do it, you either do the advertising, or you do like a revenue split. So it seems that, so what they're saying is Warner Brothers Discovery will still be selling the advertising and keeping the advertising, and Stuff will be just getting a fee for doing it. Now that works quite well. I've actually experienced this. I did a product for ODT a few years back, and I had an agreement with them that they paid me a fee. They paid my company a fee, but it was a much reduced fee because we agreed to an advertising revenue. But what happened with that situation is the ODT then didn't do what they promised to do. They didn't get their sales team to try and sell that product. So if I'd have known that before I signed a contract with them, I would have charged them more and said, you just keep the revenue, that's on you. So it's probably quite a good move from Stuff, because it means a guaranteed money every single month or week or fortnight or whatever it is in their accounts. And that's the way they can budget to do it. It's probably less lucrative than a profit share or doing the advertising, but it's less work. So it's probably more guaranteed money, but less than more risky money, but more chewy.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, that's definitely more of a sure thing. They might not be swinging for the fences hoping for the big money, but I mean, that's Warner Brothers' problem, right? Is that they don't have enough money from this product. So that sounds like the smart play for me from Stuff, considering that they're already a news gathering organization, right?
Yeah.
How much extra work is required from them here? Probably not that much.
Well, probably not. I mean, they've already got a crew on board. It'll be interesting. I don't imagine Tova wants to be a newsreader. But then again, I wouldn't be surprised. Let's put it out there on day one. Samantha Hayes will be the solo news anchor on the Stuff product. I've no knowledge of this. I've spoken to no one. But you have a look at what Stuff is. And I haven't said this to you, True, but each time you brought her up, because you used to go to university with her, I've said that, she is a physical specimen that works well on television as well, putting that bluntly. And I think that she's of the age that will work well more with the internet crowd than the television crowd. And if they can do both, they will. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'll put my dollar on Samantha Hayes will be the solo host of at least the Monday to Friday show. That's what I'm guessing anyway. All right, let's keep going.
All the news that people expect to see on a bulletin will be covered in there. As for the specific format and the specific style and tone, that's all yet to be sort of worked through.
And you know how much TV takes to produce. Are you confident that this arrangement's going to work?
Yeah, we wouldn't have entered into this arrangement if we didn't have confidence in Stuff's plan, and we do. And but it's not entering into a traditional broadcast world. It's innovating from a digital environment.
Yeah, this is some of the criticism that's come out today, because it is entering a traditional broadcast world. It is doing television news on a linear package. And like I've said to you before, television stations, they go, oh, we'll just do a TV show and we'll throw it on the internet, and then we're digital. So do radio stations, it doesn't work. But I have to also say, digital whānau out there, you can't just make a package and throw it on the television and then do linear television. There's different skill sets and different ways to sell these kinds of things. So the pushback that these guys have got so far is Sinead Boucher actually said something like, we're not just doing linear TV. And part of the pushback from one commentator was, well, yes, you are. You are doing linear TV. You got to actually have that in hand, or else it won't work on 3. If something works online but not on 3, then Warner Brothers Discovery is not going to want it. If something works on 3 but not online, then it's not going to be any use really for Stuff, other than them becoming a production house for somebody else. So they got to find where that middle ground is, Chewy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I'm just glad that it's saved and it's not Murdoch.
100% with you on that.
Delivering that product for us to broadcast.
Initially, it could be made at WBD's Auckland studio, but there are a few other details. What will it be called? Who will present it? What happens to the Newshub website and archive? And how many jobs will be created?
I've seen some numbers out there about what the staff proposal might have been, and we're probably going to be less than that.
Out of 150 existing Newshub roles, the Newshub staff subcommittee proposed saving about 40 for a digital-only news website. And Glenn Kine told staff today to manage their expectations.
You know, I carry a sense of sadness for that we're not able to retain all roles.
The former head of news at TV3 expects the new program will be a 6 p.m. news light.
We're going to see is a whole lot of work layered onto Stuff reporters, probably shooting around with iPhones, sending it back. So I don't think it's going to be a bulletin that's in any way going to match TVNZ's.
The Prime Minister says it's a good outcome.
To see a solution, a commercial decision and a commercial solution emerge like that, that's fantastic.
But that solution confirms the end of Newshub.
While I'm sure that the product will be good, and I think that there are some great ideas wrapped up into it, that the big loss for New Zealand is that culture of news and the work that Newshub and before it 3 News did over 35 years.
Stuff and WBD now have less than 12 weeks to design, staff and fit out an hour-long news bulletin.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. You know, when you hear it like that. I was gonna flick to the TV1 product as well, because Mark Jennings, was a bit blunter on TV1 than they showed on TV3. He was the one that was saying, you know, you are doing linear TV. I don't know. I haven't got video from TVNZ because it hadn't come out. But this paragraph says, speaking to media earlier today, Boucher said Stuff would be, quote, investing in proper equipment to set up the new bulletin. That there would certainly no sense that it's just an on the cheap iPhone thing. Jennings was the head of news for TV3 between 2005 and 16. He warned that to compete with slick TVNZ offering of any kind on the cheap, product would be fraught with problems. Trying to do it on the cheap is fraught with problems. And you've got to remember you're up against TVNZ's 1 hour news bulletin. It's a slick product, and this is going to have to compare and hold its share of audience. Boucher spoke to One News shortly after today's announcement was made. Yeah. Anyway, so that'll do for that. So I'm not going to go looking through the whole article to get the exact quote. The other thing, though, is if they make it completely different, like if they make it news on a couch, like if they actively go, we might be on at the same time, but we're not competing with TVNZ. See, Today FM, the biggest mistake Today FM did was attempting, even though they said they weren't, they ended up attempting to compete with Newstalk ZB. rather than doing something completely different.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, Jennings is talking about Mark Jennings is talking about competing with TVNZ. Just because you're on at the same time doesn't mean you're necessarily competing. There's lots of channels that have something on at 6 p.m. that don't compete. It could be a very different style. It could be more of a news commentary show. It could be more of a here's today's news from the cat. It could be a different style, which would for a different audience, and not have the expectations, well, they've got 500,000 a night, how many can we take off them? Okay, get some low-hanging fruit. How do you get 25-year-olds watching it? Maybe that's more the style.
Yeah. No, and that's marketing 101. Find a point of difference.
Yeah.
If you're contesting a very strong competitor, then don't go toe-to-toe. That's what they've been doing for 30 years.
Yeah.
35 years. And this is what's happened. So maybe it is a time to go, well, cool, we don't have the money. We don't have the resources. We don't have the staff.
Yeah.
What can we do on, say, the smell of an oily rag that is still going to be credible, that is still going to pass on information in a way that we're happy to put out, and is going to be something that you look at it and you go, oh, this definitely isn't TV1.
Yeah. Even the word credible is interesting, because what does that mean? I mean, credible, because if people may be thinking credible has to compete with TVNZ. I mean, credible, I guess that you don't want to put out shit, but what is that? What is that? How would you even break that down to what does something need to be quote unquote credible? Don't know.
No. I don't have an answer. Like, trustworthy. They need to pull in the stories. They need to have points of view that have cut through analysis that is good, and just be seen to be there gathering the news. And I think personally it all starts with a good logo, so maybe
Stuff Hub, nice.